What is going on, Misfits? Welcome back to another edition of Logician Tim Learns with me, your host, Logician Tim. This is the show where you get to watch me go from a total gaming newbie to a more informed gaming newbie. How about that? What's going on, you guys? I hope you all, it seemed like everybody seemed to enjoy the Gen Con stream I did last night where I shared some of my experiences with my first Gen Con ever. I had a blast. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, you can check that out after the stream. It was kind of out of my comfort zone. I'm not used to doing kind of blog type posts. I'm used to doing like deep dives into RPGs and stuff like that. So it's a little different for me, but I had fun doing it. So I'm glad that some of you watched it and enjoyed it as well. Now I'm streaming a little bit early today because my family and I had plans to go out to dinner with my mom tonight, right at the time I usually do my streaming. So I figured I'd move up the stream a little so I could make the dinner reservations, and then we're supposed to go hang out with my mom afterwards. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's why I moved the stream up just a little bit early. So tonight I am going to share with you something that I personally think is pretty darn cool. It's a product that me and the guys at Dverse Publishing have come up with, and like I said, it's pretty neat. So full disclosure, I am affiliated with Dverse Publishing, but this isn't really a commercial. I actually believe in this product, and I think it's neat, or else I wouldn't share it with you. Like, this is Logician Tim, the content creator person that you know here, talking to you, not like a company spokesperson. I just think they're really cool. And what I'm talking about tonight are these new attribute dice that are live on Kickstarter right now. And so I'm going to kind of go through some of the stuff. What's up, Vaughn? Good to see you, my dude. In Misfits at Tabletop, too. Good to see you, my dude. So these attribute dice, so what are they? What are they? They are they're just D6 dice, but instead of numbers, there are attributes on them. And these are the same attributes that are used in RPGs like D&D and Pathfinder and other, super popular RPGs. On each side, you will see that you will find, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So if you look at the picture over here, it's not each dice has dexterity on each side. That would be stupid, right? Each side of the dice has one of these 6 attributes. And the set of dice that you get comes with 6 attribute dice, a nice little kind of velour bag to hold them all in, and you can choose between square and rounded corners in the Kickstarter. I think you won't have that choice after the Kickstarter, so if you're like really strong, like I gotta have those rounded corners, man, or I've gotta have those square corners, well, jump on the Kickstarter and grab them while you can. I think I like the square dice, the square rounded better. What do you guys like? Do you like the square or the rounded corners? I think somebody told me like the rounded corners, they roll a little bit further, and they're kind of like more not new age, but new school. And the square corners are more old school. I think the square corners look cooler to me. I don't know. So what can you do with attribute dice? So they're mainly used or primarily used as a way to add narrative cues. I'll get it out. Attribute dice are primarily used to add narrative cues to your skill checks. You can also use them to play mini games and like quickly roll up NPCs. I'm going to be going over some of this stuff with you. I'm sure there are tons of other uses for them, as I know a lot of you guys are really creative, and you will come up with a lot more than I could here, or we could, and just in these short few weeks we've had to mess with it. But first, I want to tell you a little bit on how to use attribute dice as narrative cues to your skill checks. All right. So what you're going to do is, and when you're playing your favorite game of D&D or Pathfinder or whatever other popular RPG uses these same attributes, you're going to roll your skill check as normal. So you're going to roll your regular D20. If you're using other systems, that's fine too. Just roll your dice as you normally would, doing a skill check. But this time you're going to add in either one or more of the attribute die along with it and use them as narrative cues as a way to kind of help determine why you succeeded or failed that skill check. All right, let's do a quick example here. Turn this off and turn this one on. There we go. All right, so let's say that we're trying to pick a lock. Let's say our target number is 12. We're not going to add any type of modifiers in these examples just because I don't want to complicate things. But yes, you would add your modifiers in as normal. So we roll our D20 and let's just say we get an 8. This means we failed our skill check. We didn't pick the lock, right? But why did we not, why did we fail that? Well, we roll our attribute dice along with it, and let's just say we get strength and intelligence. Well, then we could kind of interpret those dice into the story, right? We could say, all right, we failed at picking the lock because, we thought we knew exactly which lock I was trying to pick, but it ended up being something completely different. And as I got madder and madder because it wasn't the lock I thought it was, I just turned the pick locks with all my strength, and I ended up jamming the lock, and now it can't be picked at all, right? So it's really quick and really easy to come up with just a little story on why I succeeded or why I failed that particular skill check. And I think it's a lot of fun. DMs can use them. Each player can use them too. And this is what I think is great because it kind of gets the players involved in telling the story, right? And gets them immersed more into the story and invested into it. And so I just think it's a pretty neat little product there. And just something really simple and easy, and it doesn't change the mechanics of the game at all. And you don't have to use it on every skill check. You can, but it's just sometimes it's good to add a little flavor in there. Okay, Jimmy, let's see. Why don't you roll the attribute dice and see what you come up with? Pretty cool. Now, another example of how to use the attribute dice is playing mini games. So like in the RPG itself, if you want to come up with a mini game, Jay came up with a handful of them already, and they're going to be included all in the Kickstarter and also as a PDF to download as well. One of the games that Jay came up with was I thought this was kind of cool, was a drinking contest between all the players. All right, this is kind of cool. So how you're going to play this is everyone is going to look at their Constitution modifiers, and you get to roll one attribute dice per modifier plus one. Okay, so let's just say you have, let's say I'm going to play the game here, and I've got a +3 modifier to my Constitution. Well, that means I would get to roll 4 attribute dice. All right. So everyone is going to take turns rolling rolling their own pool of attribute dice. Now, whoever does not get a Constitution that comes up on their attribute dice that round, then that means they got too drunk and they passed out. They're out of the drinking contest. And you just kind of keep rolling and keep doing these rounds until only one person is left standing, or maybe everybody passes out at the same time and there's no winners. Everybody lost. And because sometimes that happens in drinking games, probably everybody loses all the time in drinking games. Wouldn't you say that? Probably. Most of them, I know. So yeah, just kind of fun stuff that you can do with them. There's a lot more on the Kickstarter as well. Now, Scott came up with one earlier where maybe you are all at the tavern and you're wanting to know, hey, which one of us is the maiden over there interested in? I mean, everybody kind of has their own type, right? So what the DM can do is kind of decide this is roll an attribute dice and let it decide. Let's say I'm the DM and I'm going to roll the attribute die and it comes up with intelligence. Well, that means that the maiden is really into smart people, and the player with the highest intelligence will be the one that the maiden is attracted to the most. I just thought that's a lot of fun. And there's several of these mini games that Jay and Scott and I have come up with, some of which are already posted on the Kickstarter, and the rest will be posted as updates between now and when the Kickstarter ends on Tuesday morning. Like I said, there will also be a PDF you can download that has all of the mini games and everything right there in there for you. Another use that you can come up with, or that one of our backers actually came up with in the comments of the Kickstarter. His name was Andrew B. I won't give his last name on here, but he actually came up with this one. I thought it was pretty neat. He said, if the DM needs stats for a random NPC very quickly, then attribute dice can help you with that. So he says, now if the local arm wrestling champion or an up-and-coming thief needs stats, well, those are pretty easy enough to come up with on your own very quickly. But he says, what about the loudmouth NPC that coaxes the PCs into a fight, or the shopkeeper that is suddenly defending their wares from the player characters with excessively loose perspectives on property ownership? So like the player characters are trying to steal from the shop owner, or maybe the goblin's prisoner who wishes to aid the player characters, aid their rescuers. So in this type of case, when you want to roll up some stats for a NPC very quickly, what you can do is grab all 6 dice, or you can grab a couple less if you want the NPC to have a little bit less power, and you can roll it. Now, every result that you get on the attribute dice can be a +1 to that stats mod, that modifier. For because for NPCs, the exact score really doesn't matter. It's typically their modifier that is the only thing that matters. So let's just say that we rolled 3 strength, 1 intelligence, and 2 dexterity, right? So the NPC stats would just get a +1 modifier to each one of those. So they would get +3 in strength, +1 in intelligence, and +2 in dexterity for their modifiers. And it's that quick, super quick and easy, and you just don't have to put any thought into it as a DM. Just let the dice decide, and you can just do it really quickly. Pretty cool though, huh? I like it. So good job there, Andrew B. He just came up with that on the spot. I think that's an awesome thing. And I think there's just tons of other uses for these attribute dice out there. So now doing some testing with these, some things that I have noticed that even players that are normally really quiet tend to kind of start leaning over the table to see what the roles of the attribute dice are, and then they'll start chiming in with what they think happened, what their interpretation of those attribute dice are as well. And so that's just really cool that people that don't normally speak up are speaking up. And it seems like the whole table kind of chimes in and kind of gives their own twist to it and adds a little bit to it. And it's just a lot of fun to get the game, or get the people in the game involved. So pretty neat. Anyways, there's tons of uses for them. I'm not sure you're going to come up with a bunch more. The Kickstarter, I want to show you real quick. It's fully funded right now. They're going to ship very, very quickly, so you won't be waiting like a year to get these things. They'll probably come by the end of this year. Hopefully by Christmas is the goal, but you know how that goes. So yeah, I want to just kind of scroll through here on the Kickstarter real quick. This is the dice bag that you'll be getting. It's a prototype of the dice bag that you'll be getting. They're very cheap. The pledges are cheap. They're $15. Even you can pick if you want the rounded corners or the square corners. Now we do have, and you'll see actually my ugly mug in here too. There I am. Look, there I am. Yay! Like I put my face on this, guys. I believe in this. I think it's a cool product, and so that's why I'm on here talking about it. There I am again. Yay! Now we used something similar in our RPG that we're coming out with called Nexus Redemption. We call them trait dice instead of attributes, and they're a little bit different. But we actually have these already in hand, and so we know the quality that they're going to be like. We have them, we can look at them, and we can tell right there the type of quality that we can expect. And we put a picture on there for you of our trait dice. These are not the ones you're going to be getting. These are the trait dice. You'll be getting attribute dice with the strength and constitution and all that kind of stuff on there. But we just kind of put this up here so you can see the type of quality that you can expect in your attribute dice. So anyways, that's about it. Oh, here's a cool little box that, kind of a mock-up box. I don't know if this is how it's gonna really look like at the end. We'll see. This is kind of a mock-up thing that we're doing for when it goes to retail. Oh yeah, here's a bunch of the mini games that Jay came up with, and they're absolutely awesome. We had a little bit of art here for you. These are the ones that are already on the Kickstarter for you to read through how the rules work, and it gives you a little bit of background. Like they're at this place called the Aegon Fair, and there's all these games being played that the players can kind of play in. So kind of fun stuff. So yeah, we just got full like role play, like who each person is that's giving these games out to, and the rules behind them as well. So trivia game, drinking game, like I said before, all types of cool stuff. So there's the drinking contest, and there's going to be more too. We have some others that are done too. They're going to be coming out as updates, and they will be really, really cool. So let me see. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's see. Jeffrey McDowell over on Facebook. What is up, my dude? He says, how will these work, sir? Well, I just kind of explained it, but let me just tell you really quickly. So what you're going to do with the attribute dice is you're going to roll. This kind of helps you narrate the skill checks. So let's say if you rolled, we're doing a skill check to see if we pick a lock. We rolled an 8, and let's just say we failed, or we needed to be a 12. We rolled an 8, so we failed. Then we roll our attribute dice along with it, and that's going to tell us why we succeeded or failed. So in this case, we rolled a strength and an intelligence. Maybe that means that the intelligence, we thought we knew exactly which type of lock this was, so it'd be easy to pick. So we started working with it, and then we got more and more frustrated, and using all of our strength, we just twisted as hard as we could, and we ended up jamming the lock, and that's the reason why we failed this skill check, right? That's why we failed picking the lock. And so it's a really quick and easy way for you to be able to narrate your skill checks in the game. So it's pretty cool stuff, man. And I stand behind it. I think it's just a really neat thing. It adds just a little bit of flavor to your already awesome RPGs. It works great with Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and all of these that use these type of abilities or attributes, whatever. Some games call them differently. Some call them traits. So there you go. Anyways, that's about it for me tonight. I just want to run this thing by you. I just thought it was a cool thing, and I believe in it. So if you don't mind it's like a story aid, Jeff. Yeah, it's a story aid. There's also like different stuff you can do with it, like play mini games and roll up NPCs really quickly and all that kind of stuff. If you rewind the video just a minute, and I'm almost done, and then you'll be able to see really quickly. It doesn't take like a long time. It's a really quick thing. You can see like how you can be used, and other people are already coming up with new uses for them. So it's just kind of a fun thing that you can use around your table with your RPG group. They make great gifts too. Grab one for you, grab one for your GM or your other players. It's cheap enough, and like I said, hopefully they'll be here by Christmas is the goal, and so that'd be great presents for them. All right. Check out the Kickstarter. The link is down in the description of the YouTube video. I will go ahead and post it in the chat as well so that you guys can see it in the chat. Let me see if I can get it here. There we go. I'm going to post them in the chat. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this attribute dice. I will be back on Monday with some more RPG stuff. I'm not sure what I'm doing next. I might be doing Dungeons and Dragons, the player guide, or I might be doing something else. We picked up some cool stuff at Gen Con, so I might be diving into some of those new stuff that just came out. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you all on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. Good night.